Tony Hawk Ride received overwhelming critical hatred upon its release. But I suppose due to all the expensive researching and hard tech they pumped into this bad boy in the era of motion controls, a sequel the following year was already set in stone. I figured with the critical bombing Ride received, why would they even bother going back there? Because Activision can't run for the hills, no, that's not their style. So fittingly, in October of 2010, Tony Hawk Shred dropped in onto store shelves. Do you remember this thing? Because I sure don't. So apparently, this game released completely under the radar 8 years ago. I didn't even know it existed until much later, and I've never heard anyone talk about it. Surely with all the new improvements made, there would at least be some new talking points. Right? But wouldn't you believe it, there is nothing new about this board, aside from the flashy paint job. So there really isn't any talking point. In fact, either board is compatible with both games. I do like the new look, but it feels so much more childish and toy-like. It practically screams, "This is a shitty gimmick!"
Hey, you made it! You must be stoked after tearing through the competition to be named the Master.
Tony Hawk welcomes us into his hotel room, where all these people are waiting to greet me. Am I being initiated into a cult? But I can't help but feel like this intro is missing some finishing touches.
I hope you don't mind, but I invited a few friends over, because you're kind of a big deal.
I'm not kidding when I say this might actually be worse than the garbage we got in Ride.
And you're probably wondering why we asked you here today.
To build a spaceship and live on the moon?
Are you kidding me? Who talks like that? Everything about this just feels so inauthentic and false, it's painful to sit through. Then Tony hands us a skateboard through the TV like we're in the ring and— Oh hey, be careful with that, Tony! Oh, I don't burst through your TV and wreck your shit. Oh. The presentation overall from the cutscenes, interface and menus is all much cleaner this time, but the way we operate the game has been broken beyond belief. We don't get any kind of story mode or normal progression this time around. Instead, one of our only options of play is quick play, which takes you through a predetermined pattern of levels. Trick challenge, speed challenge, advance to the next map for a trick challenge and then a speed challenge. That's it. And leaving this mode breaks the chain, meaning every time you want quick play, you're starting with that first map. How do you fuck this up? Quick play should serve as a randomizer. Give me a random map and game mode, done. Our only other option is to go in and set up each session ourselves by the same parameters. That must make this the first Tony Hawk game, post-Pro Skater at least, to not include a story. Well actually, now that I think about it, there is a story. Tony Hawk wants us to test his not-so-new killer board. That's literally it! Play as the pros. Play as yourself on a mission for skateboarding dominance. Play as a lonely game tester stuck doing more of this shit because Activision won't let you leave until you make them more money. Yep, that's the story here. Immersive, engaging. It made me feel like a Robomodo employee. And of course, no story means no reason for Creator Skater apparently. It's just outright gone, and as for the pro skaters here, majority of the series mainstays are gone as well, really representing that this ship has sailed. But moving on from the missing reason to actually play through any of this shit, everything else here is pretty much identical to Ride. We've still got trick and speed sessions, which they're now calling Point Rush for some reason. Scoring spots is new, but downgraded from what was the challenge mode last time, dropping us into a section of map to get as high a score as possible, with no set tricks to complete. And challenge mode is back, only this time much shitter. This for me was the most interesting and most poorly executed hit and miss mode of the previous game. It was too restrictive and demanding for what is essentially a game marketed towards filthy casuals such as myself. Well, here, it's had all the good aspects dumbed down into the most generic, uninteresting mode of the game. Instead of sending us through a limited selection of trick combos which require specific maneuvers to complete, this time there is like 30 of these things for each level. The tricks we do don't matter. The order we complete them in don't matter, and they're the same for every single level. It's basically scoring spots but with a checklist of things to do within that space, and the only goal even remotely enjoyable or, challenging is making it from start to finish in a single combo. Which, translated, means holding a manual position continuously until you win. Great. The half-pipe mode has been removed, understandably, even though there is still a half-pipe mode, but I'll get to that shortly. With no story and the lackadaisical approach to progression, unlocking a new level after every single session, you'd think these pros would just stay out of our way. But no, they still feel the need to show up after every single session in these awful green screen congratulatory speeches.
Seriously, that was awesome. Totally awesome.
You gotta start making me look bad with that sick style. Good work.
Wow, my ears were popping just watching you out there. Perfect run. It's like your feet have wings.
Ugh, I wish you guys would just fuck off for once and let me play the damn game. I never thought I'd say this, and I'm not going to say it lightly either. The piss filter, horrendously awkward cutscenes from Ride were much better than this. Even if you've had a shit run and quit, they still fucking congratulate you. And I hate to use the word, but God are these things cringy.
Let's see how many stars you have. Wow, I'll take that as a good sign.
Come on, you know that's bullshit, Tony. I only won 4 stars, and there are only 196 in the entire game. This is your game, Tony. You should know this stuff.
Tony, we can only do 4.
Oh.
The one good thing I can say about this is that the number of loading screens is reduced, and we don't have to reset our stance before each event. Good. It makes it so much easier to jump in. Goofy footers like myself don't even have to turn the board around to play, but this only creates a new problem. All of the buttons are on the front of the board, where we have to push and grab the damn thing. If you skate regular, then you're fine, because it's all out of the way behind you. But unless you feel like playing through the entire game Switch, goofy fuckers are gonna be accidentally pressing buttons in the middle of sick-ass combos. Please tell me, how in the fuck, when they got it right for the first game, did they fuck it up for the sequel? Even the levels in this game take a hit in my opinion, as they're entirely forgettable and boring to play through. And yes, I'm sure plenty of people will argue the same for Ride, which I completely understand, but these are worse than Ride. The locations aren't interesting, there is nothing to really look at or do besides make our way to the bottom, and even the soundtrack can't save it. There is nothing wrong with the music, but for this game and this franchise, it's so ordinary. The only thing of note is the one level in Santorini where we can drop a piano to make a ramp, which can then be used to jump a shark. Or try to anyway. That's the only thing I can remember from any of the levels, and this was my least favourite of the levels, so how fucking dire is that? Okay, I was lying. The final Huck Jam level is the worst. I cannot describe to you how painful this level is, and of course, it's the grand finale. It takes place in what I could only describe as a shitty, decrepit theme park, starting off with this ridiculously long grinding segment trying to minecart carnage our way across huge gaps, with other obstacles blocking our path literally everywhere. You die constantly and the checkpoints are harsh, often taking you right back to the start of the map, where all the item pickups are still gone and your original combo is lost because there is no regular terrain to land anything. This feels impossible! The board just does not want to cooperate at this point, and the timing of jumps is so precise, it's virtually unplayable. And that's just the intro. If you're somehow able to make it past that, you'll reach the haunted house and the fun house. Much like the Tokyo level from last time, all this stuff I'm talking about is purely cosmetic, with nothing to feed the actual gameplay. We get to the end and guess what? That was just part 1, motherfucker! Now we've got a second Huck Jam level, starting off with another awful roller coaster segment, and then a barrage of annoying jumps I just can't get over for the life of me. And of course, I respawn right in front of the fucking thing so I don't get any reset time. Then we're hopping around on UFOs, encounter an extraterrestrial, and we're done. But then Tony Hawk puts both sections of this map together to create one huge mega track! Are you fucking kidding me? Will my pain never end? It actually gets hyped up with a hotel cutscene, but the only thing combo about this combo park is selecting left or right at the start. You don't get to the bottom of one and then start immediately from 2, no, you just pick which one you want. So why the fuck wouldn't I just pick which one I wanted to do like before? This makes no sense. And once it's over, nothing. Because this game has no story.
I think you got this thing down pat. Good job out there.
But unfortunately, the game is still not over. Because there is an entirely new sport to complete. Snowboarding. It was supposed to be 2 new sports, but we ran out of time. That was the marketing for this game. Shred the park and the slopes. Someone somewhere got cold feet on Tony Hawk being profitable on his own, and felt it necessary to shoehorn in this extra mode, and it's the reason there are so few normal skateboarding levels. This is what Activision trying to cut their losses and running to the hills looks like. So we've got snowboarding now. Honestly, there is nothing to report. I didn't know what to expect, but turns out it's just the same shit we've been doing for 2 games now, just that instead of flipping the board, we're flipping the boarder. The longer I play this, the boarder I get.
You went nuclear out there. Excellent job. What was that one? Nuclear.
Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
What's strange though is that after the first map, we get some single run competition style levels in the halfpipe. This isn't like the halfpipe from before, we just move down a sloped map the same as any other and do our regular tricks. It's pretty lame.
You slayed that pipe like I've never seen before.
Well, now that I've slayed her pipe, we've only got one more snowboard level to Wait, what? It's over? There are only 4 snowboard courses? 2 of which are generic halfpipe sessions, by the way. How did this happen? Half of this game's selling point was snowboard action, and it's completely neglected. I don't understand. Why even include it then? Just focus on the skateboarding. Originally, there was also going to be a surfing mode. I'd hate to see how that would have turned out if this is all they could come up with for snowboarding. God, I don't know what to do with myself. All that's left are these pro trials. They're just simple courses for grinding, manuals and air tricks, with the only goal being to get a high score. They're alright, simple and hard to get wrong, but that's not exactly impressive, especially for something with this much tech crammed up in its pipe. And I guess that's it. What a weak finish. With no story mode to complete, I smashed through all the skating maps, unlocking the next one before even completing the previous. I got through the Fuck Jam finale as well, that was pretty special. Special meaning handicapped, of course. And then the snowboarding, well, that lasted me all of 20 minutes before I got sick of doing the same modes down the same 2 courses. And the pro trials, well, they're a nice breather, but they offer even less than the snowboarding. So what was the point of all this? I feel like I've played everything this game has to offer and run it into the ground, and I've barely put 2 hours in. For fuck's sake. For comparison, there is less to be done here than Classic Mode in Underground 2, which is only half of that game. And Tony Hawk Ride was about 5.5 hours to complete, which I honestly thought was a little short. I beat both of these games on the same set of batteries and still had enough charge for a quick skateboard game in Wii Fit. So what in the actual fuck happened here? They clearly just gave up. But what they should have done was give up and call it a day. Not give up and release it as a fucking product. A product that costs more than normal because you need this fucking thing to play it. Tony Hawk Shred gets 2 out of 10. That's the lowest I've ever gone for a Tony Hawk game, and rightfully so, as this is where the franchise died. And it's so disappointing, because I think Ride had some great potential. They just didn't know how to implement it correctly from a software point of view. Yes, Shred did remove a lot of the restrictions that held the first game back, but in doing so, everything feels the same because everything lost its identity, and it's painful to sit through. Stand through, skate through, snowboard through. This is a fucking mockery of everything the Tony Hawk series once stood for. And clearly, fans were aware of that at the time. Because for its opening week of availability in the US, Shred barely moved 3,000 units. And that says more than I ever could. Damn! We're only halfway through Hawktober 2018. So until tomorrow, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share. I'm Square-Eyed Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Thanks for watching.